I ran the Boston Marathon on Sunday. Got in a plane, flew all night to London, and haven't stopped since. So I love London, like you said, but I mean it's just so quick. Thankfully, seeing a place at 8 miles an hour, running, because I went on a run with the North Face here the first night, and then Serpentine Running Club last night. It's a great way to tour the city. I mean, I've seen Hyde Park. We ran all around. I'm going to run the London Marathon on Sunday, so I'm looking forward to that. I haven't run the London Marathon before.
And you've run Boston before?
I feel so bad because I should know. It's probably six or seven times I've run Boston. Yeah, I was there the year of the bombing, and I've been back every year since. I'm going to keep, I'd run it a couple times up to the bombing. When I was there for the bombing, I just said I'm going to come back every single year because nothing's going to stop us runners from doing what we love. So that's kind of my commitment now. Yeah.
And I mean, certainly on Sunday on London, your plan is are you looking to go quick? Are you looking to enjoy the day and take your time?
I'm looking to have fun. I'm looking to survive. No, I'm going to run with some friends, so they're not quite as speedy as I am, and probably run 3.5 hours, kind of, which is, it's decent, but not that fast. After London, I'm flying to Lisbon to run a marathon. There's a marathon on Tuesday. It's a national holiday in Portugal. And my book's being published in Portuguese. And then from Lisbon, I'm flying back to the East Coast, to Washington, D.C. to run a 50-mile race on Saturday, and then taking a red eye to Big Sur, which is the west coast of California, to run the Big Sur Marathon on Sunday. So I probably won't race too hard because I want to make sure I don't kill myself. Yeah.
Well, you've kind of taken into a few areas there. I mean, obviously you can clearly travel and run. And, do you find that difficult? I mean, are you feeling jet lagged at all, having come from Boston to?
I'm delirious. I have to be. Let's be honest. I haven't slept in 3 days. It's been nonstop. You run a marathon, you don't feel like running. You especially don't feel like sitting in an airplane for 8 hours after running a marathon. So it's just my life. That's how it's just become this thing that it is, and I just kind of go with it. Yeah.
Well, talking about the book, obviously you've got a book out.
Yes.
Road to Sparta.
Yep, a new book.
I mean, you've done a lot of races. Why particularly did you want to write a book about this race?
I'm 100% Greek, and the marathon is Greek. It's dates back from the Battle Marathon in 490 BC. So I wanted to explore my ancient roots and really learn about what happened back then. Like, what was the reality? We know the myth where someone ran, Pheidippides ran from the battlefield of Marathon to the Acropolis and proclaimed Nike, which means victory, victory. We are victorious, and then what happened? He died, right? That's the famous story. But it's a much deeper story than that. He actually ran from Athens to Sparta first to recruit the Spartans. So he ran round trip over 300 miles before the final marathon. And I wanted to tell the story. So I worked with a gentleman by the name of Dr. Paul Cartledge, who's the foremost authority on ancient Greek culture. He's from Cambridge. And this man was a wealth of information. He kind of guided me writing this book from a historical perspective. And it was really an immersive expose on what it means to run from Athens to Sparta, in 2500 BC. Yeah.
Well, without giving too much away of the book, I mean, that must have been quite a journey of discovery for yourself, just learning about the Greek culture and
I'm 100% Greek, so I've got a lot of relatives and family in Greece, so I went and explored them. I learned a lot about myself, about my roots, about my heritage, and I think it was a very personal journey for me, not just the running part of it, but the exploration and the learning about who I really am as a person. Yeah.
Obviously you're supported by North Face. We're down at the North Face tonight. You're going to do a talk. I mean, a perfect partnership to someone like yourself, really a sense of adventure. I mean, how do they support you?
Well, a lot of people don't think of the North Face as a running company, but they're an exploration company. That's what they do. They sponsor expeditions, and I kind of view my running as an expedition. I mean, who is doing what I'm doing? Let's face it. I mean, even though some are road marathons, I don't think many other people ran Boston on Sunday and are flying over to London and run the London Marathon on Sunday, let alone flying back to run a 50-mile race with the North Face the weekend after that. So it's a perfect partnership. It really is, yeah.
And you're obviously running London, so you're saying before off camera you come to the UK every now and then. Any more races in in the UK that take your fancy? I know the Lake District is
There's a
hotbed of.
There's a long list. Yes, there's a long list, and there's actually a group of people. I don't know if you know this. That run they start at midnight and they run the London Marathon in reverse. So you know this group. Okay, so I'm getting all these emails from these guys like, oh, you got to be there at midnight with us. Come on, you slacker.
Are you tempted? Are you tempted?
I'm tempted, and I just that flight back to the U.S. after that will not feel good if I run
And you, obviously, the ultra running community, you've seen the growth of it.
Yes.
And I mean, some good and bad sides of that. I mean, what's really surprised you about the growth of it?
Well, you know, one thing that surprised me, I wrote a book, Ultramarathon Man, and when I wrote the book, it was just a life challenge. Like, a lot of people aspire to write a book. I just wanted to write a book. Wrote a book, and I thought, you know, 5 of my buddies buy this, I'll be lucky. And it became a bestseller, like a New York Times bestseller. It's now in print in 25 languages. And I thought, there's magic here. There's something more powerful about ultra running than I understand. And I think that my book has kind of introduced people into this crazy, beautiful sport that we love. Yeah.
And with the growth, I say there is some downsides. I mean, there seems to be quite a lot of people now going for crazy records. I mean, is that something that interests you, or?
You know, I've chased records before, like fastest known times and things like that, but no, I don't enjoy it as much. You know, if I'm going to be out on a trail, if I'm going to race, that's one thing. You know, I've done like the Four Deserts Challenge, which I won. You know, I've done the Badwater Ultra Marathon. But if I'm going to go do a long run somewhere, I don't want to be killing myself. You know, if I'm going to run the John Muir Trail, because I did do a fastest known time on that attempt. But if I'm going to do it now, I'm just going to enjoy it. Yeah, and save the racing for racing. Yeah.
I mean, ultra running it seems a very natural sport, but as its growth comes, I mean, what's your view on drugs in the sport and the darker side of things? You know, people abusing medication and things like that.
Yeah, it's, you know, I've seen in the 2 decades I've been ultra running, I've seen a lot of changes, and the competitive element has certainly, especially the distances like the 50K and 50 mile, it's incredible where we're getting these elite marathoners coming over and running these, you know, ultra marathons. And unfortunately, and there's prize money involved now. I mean, I'm with the North Face. We started an event in the U.S. and we have a big cash prize, and it brings that bad element, like, which is unfortunate because I always thought ultra running was above that. But yeah.
And do you feel it's a big problem, or is it still quite small?
I think it's smaller than many other sports. One, there's no cash. I mean, there's not a lot of cash in ultramarathon. You know, the person that finishes first and the person who finishes at the very end gets a belt buckle. So I think people do it more. I think most ultra runners are in it just for the challenge themselves. I don't think they're trying to win. I don't think they even know the person that won. They won't even know their name. It's just a personal challenge, and I think they're kind of unknowns, right? They go back to work, to the office the next day, and I think it's just that internal satisfaction of doing something incredible. I don't think a lot of people are using drugs to help them do that. Just by the nature of the people I encounter, yeah.
And on a more positive note, obviously, what's the future hold for you? What really gets your excitement now, having done so many?
Well, I got to live through 1 week, 2 more weeks of travel, but next year I'm going to try to run a marathon in every country of the world in a 1-year time span. So I'm going out on a global expedition. There's 203 countries in the world, and try to run a marathon in each and every one of them in a 1-year time span.
Wow. Well, yeah. We wish you all the best for that. And we look forward to watching you run on Sunday.
Pick a country, come join me. Yeah. Are you going to be? Are you running on Sunday?
I'm actually going to be photographing at the finish line, so I'll be keeping a lookout for you. Look up at the gantry and give me a wave.
Yeah, hand me a beer. Yeah.
All the best. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.